record holder for the most yards ever passing in a single game, Rohan Davey. Emmitt Smith joins us in studio.
It's the first time I played in such a place that had that much noise.
Jock, throw a rock and you'll hit a 3-star cornerback in Louisiana.
Jock Talk is sponsored by Locke Meredith Injury Lawyers.
We're now joined by a great panel of guests. Rohan Davey, record-setting quarterback at LSU. Jordy Culotta and Mike Scarborough have kept up with LSU football for decades. We are glad to have them here now. And Rohan, just your thoughts. You're a quarterback. You're an offensive guy. That's Lane Kiffin's background, and it was LSU's biggest weakness this past year.
I'm excited. I didn't want to put the explicit in it just now because we're on television or streaming or wherever we are, but I'm bleep excited. I'm happy that we finally, we still got to get on the field and play it, but with the history of what Lane has done thus far everywhere that he has been on the offensive side of the football, which has, clearly for us has not been a strong suit. So he comes to fill that void, and I'm excited. I'm excited, JD.
Well, last year he goes out and finds a quarterback playing Division II ball, puts him on the field, and beats LSU in Oxford. A lot of excitement about what he can build offensively, who he's going to recruit out of the portal, and so forth.
Well, that's what it for me. He's been a portal beast for the last 4 years. Built Ole Miss this year out of the portal. You talk about Chambers, which wasn't the starter at the beginning of the year. And so for me, man, it shows that what he can do with a guy that doesn't have the stars, doesn't have this, doesn't have that, but it's his system. So that's the other thing that I'm excited about him coming here is bringing his system. Last time we had Joe Brady here for that magical year in 2019, well, once he left, that system left. Right? Mm-hmm. So there was no carryover from that. So what I'm most excited about is Lane's going to be here for an extended period of time. Well, hell, y'all can take Charlie Weiss Jr. after 2 years if his job comes up for him to, get a head coaching job somewhere. We would still have the system in place with Lane here. So I'm excited about that.
Jordy Culotta, you've been keeping up with this stuff for a long time. LSU football is a business. It has paying customers, and the customers seem to be excited with the new hire.
Without question. I think, for Verge Alsbury's sake, this was a home run hire. He was given a task, and, every position, every athletic director that's been in this position is always going to be judged by this hire. And the preliminary reports on Verge are outstanding on who he brought in because just off the bat, he brings, and I speak of Lane Kiffin, brings relevance to LSU, and LSU was kind of in a tailspin the last couple of seasons of falling out of relevance. And when you're talking about the bills that LSU football has to pay, that just cannot be the way of business. And Verge bringing Lane Kiffin in was a grand slam.
Yeah, and too much is given, much is expected, and the pressure has never been higher at LSU. We grew up when, hey, 8-4 and making a bowl, winning a bowl, we might be happy with that. These days, Brian Kelly won 71% of his games. He was about 2-1 in the SEC, and they fired him in the middle of the season. So, high expectations, obviously.
Television contracts, redivisions, reconstruction of divisions and conferences has all brought an NFL model to college football. Yep. It's a win now. Every weekend you're in a big game. 8-4, like you mentioned, that does not move the meter anymore.
Mike, I think you told me one time 8-4 is the worst place to be. Because oftentimes it used to be, it wasn't bad enough to get you fired, but on the other hand, nobody was excited about it either.
Well, I actually said that about 9-3, which was kind of, if you're a coach, you're in no man's land.
Right.
Because you're winning too much to be fired, but you're not enough to meet expectations, particularly at LSU. And but now with the playoffs, there's no difference between 9-3 and 7-5. Unless you're Alabama, and then you make the playoffs. But 9-3 and 7-5, there's no difference in your bowl destination. Mm-hmm. And so I know a lot of people harassing Notre Dame for opting out, but I think there's a lot of SEC schools in the same position that would like to opt out, but the league doesn't allow it.
Well, it reminds me of the NCAA tournament now. Like a lot of teams may say, we're not playing in the NIT. We went through that around here with Ben Simmons. I ain't playing in the NIT, right? So you've covered recruiting here for over 3 decades. What does Lane Kiffin mean to recruits in an atmosphere now that is much different than it was when Rohan was playing?
Well, I think it's the free agency model because it's like Lane Kiffin said in his opening press conference. I think it's going to be a destination point for a lot, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. So, I think they got to get at least 2 quarterbacks in the portal. And I mean, if you're a quarterback, how can you not have LSU at the top of your list of a school that you're going to consider? And so I don't think there should be any worries about the quarterback spot, whoever's going to be in the portal. I think they're going to get somebody. And look, I know a lot of people love Austin Thomas. I love Austin Thomas. But Billy Glasscock, his general manager, this guy is insanely good. And so this wasn't supposed to be the year that Ole Miss won all these football games. It was supposed to be last year. So that really shows you the job that his player personnel department did to make this happen this year of all years. So they evaluate players very, very well. I mean, to go and find a kid like Chambliss, who would have ever predicted that? And so I think that bodes well, particularly for LSU, who needs a lot of players at all positions come January.
Rohan, you've got children that played college athletics recently. This new generation, celebrity seems to be more important than ever, and Lane Kiffin is a celebrity. What does that mean to connecting with young people and getting them to come play here?
It means everything. The fact that Lane has done what he's done over the last 4 years, and you brought up recruiting, without being able to go into high schools and get the major talent to come to Ole Miss. You come here to LSU and you got 5-star LeBron, 5-star, 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 4-star, 4-star. And the fact that you've done it through the portal and now here at LSU with the brand recognition, you can go in any damn high school you want to now and pull a 4 or 5-star because it's LSU. You couldn't do that when he was at Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. For him to be as engaged as he is with tweeting, everything that these kids want now. Why not attach your brand? All these kids come in with their own brand now. So now you attach your brand to a LSU brand, to a Lane Kiffin. If you're a 5-star wide receiver, a 4-star quarterback, whatever you are offensively, like Scars talked about, you're going to now want to come here to be a part of this. You know why? Because your brand in itself could explode. Mm-hmm. Your brand, you do well here, Lane Kiffin, LSU Tigers, you're going to explode. So all these kids now are looking to the geniuses, right? You talk about all these young coaches now in college football. We've seen at the search when we were going after Lane Kiffin that all of these guys were young, up-and-coming coaches that haven't been given an opportunity yet. Mm-hmm. But Lane is on the flip side of that where he's had all the opportunities and he's done well offensively with those opportunities. And these guys that's coming in, they know that. They know that, they see that. They see his presence on social media and everything. I mean, the guy's a rock star.
A proven product.
That's right.
And this could be open to all three of you guys. On one hand, some people may say, well, he's never won a championship, but you can say, outside of maybe
Saban didn't either till he got to us.
When he was in his 50s, right?
Right.
Look, he was younger, maybe a little more immature. He leaves Tennessee after 1 year. USC was on probation, so they didn't have all the assets that they needed. He did as well as anybody could do at Florida Atlantic, and no one's won a national championship at Ole Miss since John F. Kennedy was the president, as Stephen A. Smith pointed out. So he won at Ole Miss more than anybody has won in the last 60-whatever years. Now this is the marriage of LSU, Tiger Stadium, the best job in the country, as a lot of people say. So could he stay here a decade and win a couple of national titles?
I think LSU is merging with Lane Kiffin at the exact right time, where LSU is in need and almost desperate for somebody like Lane, and Lane is looking for a place like LSU where you've got everything. You've got the brand power, you've got the support, you've got the fans, you've got the recruiting. I mean, within the first 72 hours of him being on campus, keeping Blake Baker and the defensive line class that he hauled in, you could tell on social media this place was different for him. Because I agree with Roe. Mike knows he's going to clean up in the portal. That's why I believe he is as popular of a hire as he is in this era, because he's dominated the portal recruiting. Yeah. But to see what he did with Big Rich at a Carr, to get Deuces out of Lafayette, and to get Lamar Brown right here and have all those guys sign in one day on the defensive side of the ball, he knows he's going to get the offensive talent. To see the power of LSU to bring those types of guys in, I think was a clear sign to him that I'm in the right place and I can really win here.
I think his swagger absolutely matches the brand.
Yeah.
It matches the brand. And so, however, and you know how LSU is viewed nationally, I think he fits. His sly, his twinkle in the eye, his interactions with Feinbaum, his X account, to me, it fits well here.
Yeah.
We can talk about the last guy and the fit, but I think he absolutely. I think he absolutely
Two
does.
ends of the spectrum there, buddy.
Yes.
He reminds me a lot of Will Wade, and Will Wade was very popular here
Yep.
because he had this mentality of it's
Swag,
us against the
yeah,
world.
swag, too.
We got no secrets about it. We want to take on everybody. Lane Kiffin has that type of feel to him, and LSU, they love that. They love that personality.
In 30 years of coaching searches, who comes the closest in any sport at the time of hire having this type of impact? To me, it has to be Kim Mulkey.
Rock star.
As far as in the particular sport and the size of it.
Yeah.
And this is next level.
I agree.
Oh, it's rock star status. And now, to your point, Jay, you talk about those recruits. Hats off to Frank Wilson.
Absolutely.
Hats off to Frank Wilson, because let me tell you something. I know personally, Big Rich, Lamar, I know that he was enthralled in the recruiting of those guys. I'm talking about to where they're calling Coach Wilson 3 in the morning if something's going on. You know what I mean? So hats off to him for holding that whole thing together until Lane came in and being able to keep those recruits. Listen, to your point also, Jason, rock star hire, man. And to our brand, this is also what I think. Lane Ben wanted to be here.
I agree.
I think Lane Ben had an infatuation with LSU.
I agree.
And I agree with the point that it's the perfect timing. He's a lot more mature now than what we seen before. Defensive emphasis, I've seen from him even take a little trending in the right directions over the last couple years with him on defense. So I'm excited. The biggest thing for me was retaining Blake.
Well, can I circle back to Verge real quick? This hire would have never happened had Scott Woodward still been here.
You think so?
No way. No way. There was no way it was Lane Kiffin.
Because Kiffin was too brash for Scott
Yeah,
Woodward?
there's no
or
way.
Too much?
Right. No way. And
Because he could have hired him.
And what's funny is the other coaches matter on this campus. And so since Verge has gotten the job, I think there's a few of them that would probably want to take a look and see, and there was things that they worked well with Scott on. But there's one thing that Verge does that Scott Woodward never did. And you know it because you cover other sports. You see Verge at other sporting events. Yeah. You never saw Scott Woodward. Yeah. And so I think Verge has planted the flag with the Kiffin hire. But in the weeks that he's been the AD, he's also been seen at all the other sports venues with those other coaches. So
Listen, man,
that's a big, big deal.
It is, man. And when you have guys like him, Coach Wilson, these guys that are leaders, and you fire a Scott, right, and you get rid of a BK, and these guys step up in those positions, it just lets you know that the leadership been there. The leadership been there. It was just masked by what was in front of them.
Let's talk about Blake Baker. You mentioned it because on the Friday, he was torn in terms of, do I stay at LSU? Do I become the new head coach at Tulane? He played at Tulane. He was a star there. There's pressure to win at Tulane now. I mean, they've been winning in recent years. So
playoff team.
If he goes over there and goes 7-5, they're not happy with him. But obviously, a lot of people have been saying happy wife, happy life. His wife was a soccer star. They're probably tired of moving around. Let's stay here. And obviously, $3 million a year. Okay, I'll do that.
Young children that don't want to get uprooted from schools either.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And some people say, it's in New Orleans and about it's just an hour down the road, but it's
still moving.
It's still moving.
It is.
It's still moving.
And the thing
And
about
a whole
it
new
is,
group of friends.
I mean, when you talk about him going to Tulane, with the things that, especially now in today's football, NIL, transport, so on and so forth, you got to buy your team, basically. I mean, I don't know how much Tulane could guarantee Baker that you're going to get for a roster every year. You know what I mean?
How many of the players Summerall is going to take to Gainesville?
It's you're falling into a place that really is an unknown for him. Mm-hmm. And unless everything that he demands is met, I'm going to come back to LSU and get me about $3-4 million and not have the stress of being that head coach. I have a system already in place, like you pointed out, Scar. Wife's happy, kids are happy. Like, that's where I'm a trend unless everything that I want, they say they check the box.
Yeah.
This spot only comes available in college football once every decade. The last person to hold this spot was Kirby Smart, where you could say, hey, look, do I want to hang out and be the best assistant coach in America as far as being funded, players, support, and wait on a job that I can really handpick and go jump? Or do I have to climb the ladder like every typical head coach has to do to get to a Power 5 spot? And Baker's sitting in a position where he can stay here, revamp this defense. You know the offense is going to be good. They could rattle some things off, and he could kind of handpick his spot here in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's kind of simplistic to view it this way, but I remember at the end of Coach O's first full year as a head coach in 2017, Texas A&M really came after Dave Aranda, offering him lots of money, and it was kind of viewed as, man, if you lose Aranda, this thing could really go off the rails. They kept him. 2 years later, we know what happened. So is Blake Baker Dave Aranda, and is Lane Kiffin Joe Brady / Steve Ensminger? That's what you're hoping for in the future.
Well, I think you got the best of both worlds. I know when this was going down, my first thought was, man, I hope we could retain Blake. You know what I mean? When we got Lane, my next thought, man, I hope we could retain Blake. So for me, because defensively we haven't had his coaching style, the way he had these guys prepared defensively, it was such a contrast week in and week out from what we saw offensively. You know what I mean? So it was like, how the hell is these guys on the same team, but defensively, these guys are in tune. They throw side adjusts on the offensive side. Linebackers are smacking it. Safeties are smacking it. They know exactly what's going on in the front. They know exactly. They were well coached, and that's to those guys on the defensive side of the ball. So if you can retain them and you know what Lane does and how attention to detail and the tempo that he wants to go offensively, man, I mean, you keep that in place, and he just continues to build that. He's not starting over. Right? And continue to build that, continue to bring your guys in. You already have the base of what you're doing established. Starting all over would have sucked. So I'm just happy that you got a guru on offense and guru on defense.
You know, the other part of it, too, is a lot of exasperated players on the offensive side of the ball that you couldn't blame them if they got in the portal. And now you don't have to talk them into the portal. Even though their position coaches and the coaches that recruited them to LSU are no longer here, they want to be a part of, because it's Lane Kiffin, they want to be a part of what's coming because they're all imagining themselves in the Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss Jr. offense, and all the receptions that they didn't get this season. They've just got to be. Instead, if you hired somebody else, you might be spending your whole December trying to talk them into staying and saying, well, yeah, you might not know this new offensive coordinator,
but trust them.
No, you don't have to do that. That job was done for you the day you hired him.
I agree.
So now it's probably the only thing you're worrying about is your NIL dollar amount.
That's it.
And so Harlem Berry, et cetera, I think you're on a lot easier path than you were before. And there's a lot of receivers with a lot of amount of talent that didn't have near the season or anywhere close to the season that they should have had.
No doubt.
And now they're seeing themselves, they can visualize it.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I agree with you totally. You don't have to put as much as recruiting your team when you bring in a Lane Kiffin. Absolutely. You bring him in someone that's known. Listen, these guys see what he's been doing. You see what he did against us. You see what he's been doing through the SEC. You see what the numbers are for the running back, what the numbers are for the receivers, multiple receivers. You know what I mean? You see what it is for the quarterback. You see the offensive line is not getting the same stress. They're not asked to hold as long. They're not asked to do the same things. So it's not just like the outside guys are excited, but just think about how much we beat. Well, me personally, I know I did. I beat the linemen down all year. You know what I mean? But were they getting the proper coaching? Were they getting in the right position? I mean, I don't know. But now you bring in one of the best offensive line coaches, right? Yeah. And so now you throw them in there with, these guys ain't just come out of high school and just don't know how to play football no more. We didn't get these guys and they just don't know how to play no more.
Oh,
absolutely.
Absolutely. And by the way, and a guy, and we don't know yet, y'all might know something I don't know, but a guy like Caleb Jackson might see a new lease on life. Mm-hmm. You know, the light might come on with him. A guy that probably everybody already discounted and said it's over. And never understood why with him, honestly. Yeah. I never understood that last year with him. Previous year, the kid came out. We were excited about the kid. Explosive, big, strong guy, fire and ice type guy, one-cut guy. And then next year is like nothing.
Yeah. Well, the offensive linemen looked the part. Brad Davis played about the time you did, Rohan. He was a starter on a national championship team at Oklahoma. You see him in practice. These guys tower over him. I mean, physically they look the part. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know football well enough to tell you, but
they were all a who's who in their class.
Absolutely. No doubt.
They had offers from everybody. None of them are carrying a bunch of bad weight. I mean, they're legit guys.
I mean, look at them.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, look what's in the NFL right now. These were guys under Brad Davis that didn't have good years. To me, it's I can't wait to see what they're going to look like with a different offensive line coach.
And the thing about it too, bro, is I've been on these teams, some of these teams when I was here first year when it was '97 when we were so stacked and we sucked because of what was going on internally in that floor, in our practices, in our team meetings, and with our coaches, the bickering that was going on there with all them, with Jerry D and Coach Mike Haywood and all these coaches, that Coach David Kelly, that they all just did not, and I'm not saying didn't get along with each other, they just didn't believe in what was going on. They didn't believe what the head coach was spewing out. So when it trickled down to us, we got the coaches talking crap about the other coaches while we in practice. So I could just imagine this past season when we talk about, well, why that group's not performing, why this happened, why this not going. Well, look, bro, when you got the head in there and all this turmoil and all this stuff with social media that you hear going on now, it affects what you do.
And it's absolutely like that. It turns into a high school.
Oh, no doubt.
It turns into
no doubt.
Because it
turns into the lunchroom.
Whether it's coaches,
that's right.
They're all wanting a scapegoat and point the finger at the other one.
That's exactly right.
Self-preservation, right?
Exactly.
And I know for a fact that that's some of the stuff that was going on there this past season with, what transpired with everybody getting let
The
go.
wife and kids at home want you to have a job next year, right? Yep. And how am I going to do that, right? How am I going to stay part of this thing? And Mike used the word exasperated. I can imagine you're playing defense at LSU. You're playing at Oklahoma. You intercept the ball. You put the offense at the 4-yard line, and you throw an interception on the first play. If you're playing defense, you got, are these guys going to score any points for us ever to win a game?
Listen, every time there was an interception or a turnover, and we picked it up, all I was screaming was, please
get it to
score.
the end zone. Get it to the end zone.
Please score. Please score.
You don't trust it in the red zone.
Oh, my God.
You go to Alabama, you hold them to 20, you lose, you don't score a touchdown. You go to Oklahoma, I'm wondering, are they going to win 13-10 here at the end and give up a pass at the end? But the complimentary football, Brian Kelly used that over and over again. We're not playing complimentary football. That's what you're hoping for. Hopefully your offensive players give your defensive players confidence and vice versa.
Finding consistency, right? I mean, just finding balance. I think that's where LSU, if you look at Kelly's tenure, he had dominant offenses at times, but he never had consistent special teams. His defenses were up and down. I mean, it was just about, for Lane Kiffin, I think the first point of business is just find some balance. Find where we can play.
Identity.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball, and special teams be, a part in an area of the game where it doesn't cost you.
Yeah. This time of year in the calendar, Rohan, you would know, okay, next year I'm going to be handing off to LeBrandon Tofield, Dominic Davis. I know I'm going to be throwing to Michael Clayton or Jarrell Myers, Josh Reed, whatever. Right now, at this point, if you ask us who's on the roster next year, we can't really give you a confident answer to an extent.
No,
right?
you can't, but this is new football. Mm-hmm. This is new football, and it's not new to none of these guys. It's new to me because I don't understand it, but it's not new to any of these guys. It's definitely not new to Lane. Lane has built his team every year on 65% turnover. With bringing new guys, especially on the offensive side, new quarterbacks. So, yeah, you would. And now this is just why it's so much more important now. I'm just so happy. I'm happy Ole Miss decided not to let him coach, because if Ole Miss not letting him coach sped us up, got him to work faster for us, got him putting boots on the ground a lot quicker than it would be if he was preparing, to play in the playoff game and so on and so forth. But I don't, honestly, Jock, I don't think that bothers him as much, because I see from what Lane Kiffin does offensively, you always worry about the continuity between the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and getting that timing down, so on and so forth. But listen, I haven't seen that be a problem with him over the last 3-4 years.
Well, he's even said, is this good for college football that we're flipping the roster 60, 70 guys? Probably not.
Right.
But this is what I got to do.
That's exactly right.
And it goes into the same thing of hiring him.
Yep.
There was a ton of criticism for that. There's a ton of pushback for Ole Miss, LSU, the coaching process. This is the calendar. This is the guidelines. He's the top guy on the list. Next year, it's going to be the same issue for whoever the number one candidate is. They're going to be put in a position to choose between their team or their future, and they're probably going to choose their future. And I'm not going to blame that guy, just like I don't blame Kiffin. I don't blame Ole Miss. I don't blame LSU. Everybody's kind of caught in this tunnel of what are you supposed to do?
But you know what? 2 times in a row, LSU had the lightning rod guys.
They did.
The 2 guys, the national guys, all hate Kelly.
That's right. That's right.
And Lane Kiffin, his track record.
Polarizing.
Right.
And so it's like it was a double whammy. So, but to go back, I think the sped up LSU's calendar, the fact that he does get to, that's the positive of the bowl game. He and Billy Glasscock get to evaluate LSU's players every day at practice in preparation for the Texas Bowl.
I like Billy too. You're right about Billy. I like him. I was able to meet him Saturday over at Pizza Byron's. He's I just talked to him briefly, but I like him. He had a good evaluation on me, so.
Yeah, and look, you look at the
blitzing.
I talked to some Texas guys that they were sick to lose him when they had him. He's really, really good.
Yeah. Now, I like me some Austin Thomas too. Now I
do
can't
too.
throw my boy out there. My boy.
Yeah. Well,
but with change comes change.
Lane Kiffin in his press conference, I think it was Ron Higgins, asked him, what did Verge Osbury ask you or told you that you said that's exactly what I wanted to hear? And Kiffin said, I'm going to let you coach the team and get out of the way.
Yeah.
And he paused and everyone kind of laughed. You can't bring Lane Kiffin in and tell him you have to keep X, Y, and Z, right? He's got to do what he's got to do. And as we're sitting here, Frank Wilson is in limbo. We don't know if he's coming back or not. We haven't heard anything positive about him. Yes, he's coming back. We'll see what happens. But can two things be true? Can we want Frank Wilson to come back and then also realize if he doesn't come back, it's not the end of the world?
I think so. I think Frank Wilson will probably go down as one of the top 3 all-time assistants at LSU football in the history of the program. And for what he means to LSU at both tenures in which he's been here, I don't think can be calculated. I know some stories came out a couple of weeks ago that Frank was sabotaging the class. That is 100% false and could not be any further from the truth because of how much Frank loves LSU. And that's just on that
Whoever
alone.
put that out should be ashamed of themselves.
Agreed. But I don't know how this is going to work out with Frank, but I do have the confidence that Lane Kiffin will have the roles put in place where LSU football will be successful. It's tough to believe that Frank Wilson is an option and he's not already in the boat. But I think that Rose said it to start the show, and I agree. The job that he's done to keep this team together and to see how they start. The Texas A&M game, Jacques, I thought LSU was dead. Like, I don't know how they were going to get off the mat and perform against Alabama, against Oklahoma down the stretch. And the way they played, the offense was bad, but they were ready to play. They played physical. That team was together. And I think Frank Wilson deserves a ton of credit.
And there weren't
for that.
mass defections either. There
That's
weren't
right.
a bunch of guys.
Everybody was still trying. Everybody was still playing hard. I mean, I think a lot of that was because, hey, we can't let Coach Frank down.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, you look at the roster, he's recruited all those guys. All those guys been in their homes. And the relationship that he's had with those guys wasn't from a head coach player's perspective.
Right.
It was from a coach and a recruiter. But also you got to understand, a lot of these guys look at Frank as a father figure. You know what I mean? These guys that he's recruited. And so, of course, you don't want to let down somebody that's been as good as he has to a lot of these kids and their families. So you're not going to see him quit on them. You're going to see them strap it up no matter what's going on and put forth their best effort because that's what he demands, but also because it's LSU.
Yeah, and Corey Raymond coming back, huge for players like DJ Pickett, who, they see a DJ Stingley and the money he's getting in the NFL and say, that's what I want to do. Who coaches them? Okay, that guy. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
So, Mike,
you just can't expect a coach, though, to keep that many staffers from a previous staff.
No.
Blake Baker makes sense. It's an upgrade from Golding, I believe.
Correct.
So, and you keep you're gonna have a better time keeping your players. Peoples is an outstanding ends coach. Corey Raymond. I mean, I like his strength coach. I know a lot of people are saying, go get Moffitt. There were some mistakes made by Brian Kelly and who he kept and didn't keep. But at the same time, there is something to be said for cleaning house a little bit.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And you got to. You get the man come in, you got to let him, you want him to cook the dinner, baby.
Now, if he sees value, if he sees value in Frank Wilson in a certain area, then let him have it. But don't force it on him.
I would love to see Coach Wilson back, but I don't know. I don't think that's likely.
I think he would
based
know.
on some things I've heard.
I won't miss his running back rotations, I'll tell you that much.
Mike got a little frustrated sometimes. when
Harlan Berry.
One running back would break a run to the 5-yard line, then another running back would come in.
He's winded. Get him out. Put in Jawan Johnson.
Right.
Stuffed. No game. End around, 2-yard loss. Ramos.
Well, let's hope the red zone gets a little better moving forward.
That's coaching. That's coaching. The red zone is strictly coaching. The red zone's been bad from Clemson all the way to whoever the hell we just played last. The red zone's been the worst part of LSU's football this season, and that's coaching. That's strictly coaching. That ain't them guys. That's coaching.
Yeah. LSU has a bowl game to play against Houston. This is a topic real quick. A few people say, Lane Kiffin should coach the bowl game.
Wow.
That is way too much risk and not enough reward. It's not his team, really. It's not his offense. I guess it'll be his defense because Blake Baker is staying. But for him to go out, start 0-1 and have that carried all through the offseason is a bad idea. But I guess he'll be there like Brian Kelly was at the game. And 10 years ago, if you say, okay, Houston's a ranked team, they get to host LSU in their own city, put a bunch of red in the stands, this could be interesting. These days, bowl games, not nearly as interesting.
Yeah, one thing I heard that Lane Kiffin did say when he first got in the building was talking to the current staff, outgoing staff, was who came up with that game plan for the last game? Is that the best y'all could do? I watched that game. And so I think that might have hurt some coaches' ability to put their best foot
He
forward
ain't lying.
to become a part of the new staff.
He ain't lying. He is not lying. It was terrible. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And you look at the last few games with Van Buren and the guys on the offensive staff, that was their audition.
Yeah.
That was their audition for for Kiffin to come in and say, you know what? Good job by the quarterback. You know, we may retain you to be something. Or, you know what? Somebody else comes after you and give you a bunch of money to go somewhere else. None of that is happening. None of that is happening for the coaches or Van Buren because it was terrible. The game plan was terrible. The execution was terrible. Everything that we tried to do offensively
I'm on the set with
terrible.
Charles Barkley right now.
It was terrible. It just was.
I love it.
It was
It
painful
was,
to
man.
watch.
Offensively, to watch
Painful.
that, especially when the defense gives you so many opportunities to extend yourself and take the lead in the football game or assert yourself in the football game, that you know what, we can win this game.
Right.
You know, whether it's turnovers, interceptions, whatever it may be, and we just we've been consistent about crapping down our legs once the defense gives us an opportunity to go ahead of the football game or to take advantage of it. We sucked when it comes to that. Situational football, we've sucked. Sudden change, we've sucked offensively, not defensively. Sudden change, when we get a turnover and it's time to score, trying to come up with that play, do something here, do something there. We have been terrible.
All that's perfect for the YouTube version.
Yeah, that's right. I think it'll make the television version as well. But you look at the job Baker did against Kiffin this year at Ole Miss, pretty good job. I think the first 5 times Ole Miss touched the ball, they had a total of 3 points. So his defense was keeping him in there. Their offense didn't do anything. Garrett had the bad interception there at the start of the second quarter.
Yeah.
But late in the game, on the 4th down to seal the game, he threw the ball to a big boy there in the flat, and he was wide open. Looked like a 300-pounder catching the ball and running with it. Those are the kind of things that Kiffin will dial up.
I think he's the best play caller in football. I really do, all levels. I think his way to diagnose mismatches and attack that. One thing I love about his offense, Ro could probably speak more to this, is that if he finds a weakness on the defense, he absolutely mauls it. He attacks it. He goes after it, and he does it with his best players. And I think, watching him call offensive plays is almost like art.
No, it is, man.
Sets you up too with a lot of misdirection.
Sets you up.
does,
I mean,
man. He does.
I think back about that drive in overtime
does.
when he was play calling for Alabama, and he got us on the 2-point conversion with, the running back playing quarterback essentially.
Well, he lined up the offensive lineman at tight end, right?
Right.
And he went out
then
for
he
a pass
shifted
and
it.
wide
Oh,
open.
he's wide. He's standing by himself.
Yeah.
It was one of those things like when he started walking back towards the sideline as soon as the ball
over
snapped.
with.
Yeah, he knew it was a Steph Curry type 3.
And that's, as a coordinator, you go into every game with 3 or 4 plays that you know going to be wide damn open.
Yep.
Or you know it's going to give myself a chance. We never had any of that.
That's right.
We didn't have any of that. And the best thing I like about Lane, bro, is he ain't scared of nothing. And he sets it up. It's not like he just calling plays. Right. Well, we seen this year with people just calling plays. Right. He not calling plays. I'm sure, and I don't know this, first 12 or 15, if they're scripted to set up something later on. They're scripted to show you something so you remember it. And now when I come back to you, it's not going to be like us. Well, the play before we line up Big Trey on the right-hand side, throw it to him and it worked. Then we come back later in the game and line up on the left-hand side and run the same play and figure, oh, they haven't seen this, guys. And it doesn't work in a critical part of the football game. That's what I'm talking about. Show me something else, but give me something else.
By the way, he knows LSU's personnel. So when you mentioned Trey, when he sees how poorly used and utilized the Trey and Chris Hilton.
Oh my God.
We're not,
Trey might have 20 touchdowns next year.
crazy.
Trey might have 20 touchdowns next year.
Well, I think Matt Flynn and Jacob Hester described it very well on the radio. It's like telling a story. He tells a story, and you're moving, from the beginning of the story to the end, as opposed to just throwing out storylines here and there that don't connect, right? I mean, you're moving through a process.
It's like when you go to like Disney World or any of them places, and they got them people out there and they're drawing your picture, and at first it's just outline, and that's what you see, this outline, and then you blink, turn around, go get you a damn turkey leg or something, and come back, and it's the whole picture.
Yeah.
And it's the whole picture, and you see exactly what the idea was, what it started to be, and now what it actually is. That's Lane.
Good stuff.
The Lane train.
Oh, that's where my eye was. Oh, there's my nose.
That's right.
The caricature drawn up. So why don't we, down the stretch here, expectations for next year. Verge Osbury, the AD himself at a press conference, says LSU needs to be in the playoff every single year. I think there's some people that think that, the LSU might take their lumps in year one. Maybe they'll be more ready by year two. But with the transfer portal and everything, we shall see. The home schedule's dynamite next year. They play Clemson at home. They play Texas A&M. Then Alabama come back.
Alabama's here.
Alabama's here. So a lot of excitement towards this next season.
Yeah, brutal schedule. And if you just look at it and you look at LSU's current roster, you're thinking this team's going 7-5 tops. But I don't know, man. It's just
7-5. Mike is back.
Yeah, but you look at because look who's
9-3, Scott.
Look who's rotating in on that schedule. Right. But I think there's a reason to be more positive just because of Kiffin and what they're going to do in the portal in January, and a quarterback can change everything.
Oh, no doubt.
He can. We saw what Jaden Daniels did with a roster with a lot of holes. You can hide a lot of your
warts.
Yes, and so I don't know who that quarterback. There needs to be a few of them at least, and that can make all the difference in the world. But to open with Clemson, you got to believe they're going to be improved.
Yeah.
This 9-game SEC schedule with Texas, right? Is it Georgia and Alabama? Who rotates in next year?
Texas is here.
Texas here.
And Alabama.
Yeah, Texas and Alabama
Yeah.
on top of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, it's brutal. It's brutal.
It's a brutal schedule.
But I agree with you, and I think that LSU's two biggest pain points right now are Lane's biggest strengths: the ability to turn the roster over overnight, to get into the transfer portal, and the vacancy at quarterback. I think every single year you're going to have a quarterback with Lane. I think that it's going to now almost sell itself for what he's been able to do. Yeah. But if he gets in there and absolutely goes after somebody, tracks somebody, and tries to bring him in, I can't wait to see.
Has he ever had a bad quarterback? He's never had a bad quarterback that I know.
I don't think that
Blake
has
Sims.
played on his roster.
He made Blake
Maybe
Sims
when
a
they
quarterback.
leave, they're not as great. But when they're there in his system and he's coaching them, they're wonderful.
I mean, he's got the insurance salesman in Tuscaloosa that won the national championship.
Bro, the thing
that transferred from Florida State.
That's bro.
Coker?
Yeah, was it Jacob Coker?
Jay Coker?
Yeah.
I mean, Chambers wasn't even a starter.
I know. And I mean, Austin Simmons is 6'4", looks like a pro prospect, and then Trinidad Chambliss comes in and makes a Heisman run.
Yeah. Well, and
I'll take the starter.
50 isn't what it used to be, but he's a young 50. And he's working a lot harder than the previous guy worked. He's at the building at 4 a.m, and people say, oh, he's got a big ego and this and that. Hey, if he needs to feed his ego by saying, I'm going to win a national championship, that's exactly what you want.
If your ego is winning football games,
you're going to fit in well here.
And that's what you want to do. Hey, buddy, you can have a big ego you want.
Right.
You understand? Coach Saban had an ego.
That's right.
We all do, right?
You talked about it. Mike, you remember this? Every male in Baton Rouge was wearing mock turtlenecks from 01 to 04 because they wanted to look like Nick.
Listen,
right?
bro.
I mean, watch the yoga intake start going up for males 45 to 55.
When I saw that, I started signing up for yoga.
And by the way, he doesn't play. Just so you know, he doesn't play golf. Yeah. He does like to fish offshore, but you can't do that just a few miles away. There's no.
That's right.
No, you gotta go, baby.
That's right.
Yeah,
so you don't have to worry about all the golf.
I love to fish too, and I don't play golf. So here we go.
Well, and Jordy, to a much lesser extent, I remember a lot of guys with the white hats and the khaki pants, and when Les was doing well.
That's right.
I'd see more of that.
Yeah.
Kind of like those fat guys you see on the golf course, Rohan, that had the red shirt and the black pants because they're trying to be like Tiger.
Tiger.
That's right.
All right, well, spring football will be very interesting. It'll be interesting to see what kind of media access we get. Yeah. Will he let us watch practice?
That's a big question.
Doubtful.
From what I understand, there's none.
Doubtful.
No.
But it's going to be interesting.
I don't think he's trying to endear himself.
Most coaches here have adapted to what LSU's always done. Now, BK went above and beyond that, but I wonder if we'll still get 3 or 4 periods of B-roll.
And then get out.
Yeah.
Or we'll be relying on the LSU Twitter
probably
feed.
Not at first, but I think it'll come around because one thing you can't do now, you can't just lock us out, baby.
He doesn't do a coach's show.
Right.
I told you.
So will he do a coaching show maybe in a building by himself with Chris Blair?
It'll probably be like taped after the game.
And we can have a debate whether that's long past its sell date.
I agree.
Coaching shows necessary?
No, but they're in the contract to pay him.
Yeah.
I think he can forgo that couple $100,000.
I think so too.
I agree with you.
Coaching shows are.
I told Jacques the day after he was hired, I said, don't expect him to be at TJ Ribs on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I mean,
and good for him. Well, Thursday night. And good for him. I mean, coaches, how many hours they work?
Yeah.
That's the one night a week they have off to be with their family.
Yeah, I don't blame him, bro.
Right.
So if he goes by the way the dinosaur, fine. He's on X enough.
I'm with you.
You can set that up and senior coordinators.
Yeah.
You know,
so we're not going to hear, Coach Len, I have a question.
See, now I would love that if he actually sent the coordinators.
I think that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are the ones that want to be head coaches anyway. You're already the head coach.
Yeah.
Send those coordinators to still keep your pulse on the community. Still, the same people gonna show up.
Send a different position coach each week.
The same people gonna show up. You know.
Yeah, we typically only get those guys once or twice a year.
Right.
Anyway, that's one of the good things about used to be going to a bowl. They used to make the offensive and defensive coordinator available. This Texas Bowl, they aren't doing anything as far as media availability. So this is the last topic, I promise. Okay, engagement with fans. This is not a guy, it doesn't appear to be, that's interested all that much in kissing babies and hanging out with Big Ragu and the Evil Twins and all that stuff, right? Or standing by a gumbo pot and like trying to. The last guy didn't really want to do any of that, and we wouldn't be talking about that as much if he would have won more games. But how much do you think Lane Kiffin is going to engage with this fan base? I agree with you. I think this isn't an insult, but I think there's a large group of that LSU fan base that wants to hear Neck, and they love the anti-authority kind of cocky dude. They're going to love him, right?
Yeah.
But just the connection with this fan base and whatnot. And Rowe, the former players, too. That's important to you guys.
He's been taking selfies all over town already. So I think he's already off to a good start. And I think he loves that adulation from the fans.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I think he'll see the passion and, see it up close. I think he knows it.
Yeah.
He's seen it on the other sideline, and he's probably, looked at it with a sense of amazement. Now to know that that's behind his back, I'd imagine he'd probably embrace that with 2 arms.
No doubt. I think that when you got him, you got a guy that understood our culture. You got a guy that understands our history. You got a guy that knows what it takes in the SEC to be successful. And now you're here at a program that you've wanted to be on, where on the national spotlight level, like nothing. You got the best of both worlds. The world is your oyster right now, being here at LSU. So I think that he's going to play into all of that. I've looked and seen how the amount of players that are on his sidelines during the football. plethora of NFL guys that played at Ole Miss on the sideline, welcoming back. And I actually had a guy, Devin Bush, who was a friend of mine, played at Florida State, was actually on Lane's staff a couple years ago when I was speaking to him. And he talks about how all guys walk through, guys are there, guys come back. So I don't foresee former players being an issue.
Yeah, and what she brought up, I meant to bring that up a long time ago. It's simple, but it means so much. He's coached in the SEC. Brian Kelly had never coached in the SEC. He said it his first year. They beat Alabama on the two-point conversion. They go to an Arkansas team who's awful, that they should roll through, and they were lucky to get out of there alive with a 13-10 win. And so this guy has stood on the opposing sideline in Tiger Stadium. He's been in the belly of the beast, and he knows what the SEC is all about, and that's a great thing.
Yes, it is.
So, Rohan Davey, Jordy Culotta, Mike Scarborough joining us for a roundtable on Lane Kiffin here as the Tigers move towards 2026 with a new leader and new energy.